actually really, I'm a little bit worried about things that come out of my mouth, because I am a truth person, I'm a truth speaker. You may, I don't know, resonate with women in media who might speak the way I do, who might get a lot of flack. Well, they're white. I'm not. So why do you think I'm not speaking up on the internet? Who here is old enough to remember the Cronulla riots? Yeah. So I'm an Arab woman. Every single woman speaking here today is a marginalized woman. Marginalized women have a plight that white women will never understand, and we don't want you to understand. We just want you to stand in fucking solidarity and not making it about yourself. It's not about you and us, it's about all of us. It's not a divide, it's all of us. You could be university educated, I'm university educated. You could be a sex worker, you could be a trans woman, you could be a black woman. You're still going to be killed due to this. This doesn't discriminate, and it is not normal. So thank you for being here, and thank you to the white women for being here. I didn't want to make this about them, but thank you for showing up. Go and teach all your other white friends, please. Please, it's not a personal attack. If you can remove yourself and your ego, you will completely understand what we're talking about. So thank you. such a fucked up thing to have to say. And this is 2024. Janice Walker, Neril Doble, Alison Robinson, Kira Marshall, Alana Martin, Antoinette Tozer, Vilene White, Donna Baraket, Samira Kamaleddin, Amarjit Kaur Sardar, Rebecca Young, Min Cho, Bonnie Lee Anderson, Natasha Nabitsi, Samantha Murphy, Unnamed Woman, Joanne Perry, Chaitanya Swetha Nedagani, Moa Kizenga, Zomi Frankum, Unnamed Woman, Hannah Maguire, Dr. Ashley Good, Dawn Singleton, Jade Young, Pikriya Dachia, Yishwan Cheng, Tara Marie Morrison, Leslie Stillman, Molly Ticehurst, Emma Bates, Erica Hay, Joan Mary Drain, Unnamed Woman, Lily Galbraith, Unnamed Woman, Jennifer and Gretel Petelchich, Tash Raven, Unnamed Woman, Wanda Dorothy Bull, Lois Witt, Yvette Verney, Natalie Jane Fram, Annette Kiss, Carolyn McCarthy, Sarah Miles, Annette Brennan, Nunya Kurua Leba, Lucia Barkin Cortez, Lolene Whitehand, Kira Lee Jensen, Keisha Thompson, Unnamed Woman, Xiaoting Wang, Unnamed Woman, Wendy Hanson, Jasmine Lee Sloan, Unnamed Woman, Deborah Hunter, Natalie Golchich, Unnamed Woman, Frances Crawford, Unnamed Sister Girl, Christine Mills, Unnamed Woman, Rehana Parvin, Unnamed Woman, Susie Rackman, Cheryl Davidson, Nikita Azapadi, Mavis Stanley, Tegan Fredericks, Bronwyn Ann O'Gorman, Unnamed Woman, Unnamed Woman, Unnamed Woman, Unnamed Woman. Rosemary Franzidis, Christine Barrett, Shirley So, Unnamed Woman, Vicky Apostolopoulos, Christine Dawson, Isla Bell, Annie Ng, Coral Sena, Thelma Clausen, Sandra Debrilla, Yuko, Heng Kim Gao, Pauline Slater, Charlize Hayter, Unnamed Woman, Unnamed Woman, Georgian Lee, Khulud Hawat, Unnamed Woman, Chloe Jade Mason, Christy Louise Hunter, Yvonne Beres, Sophie Lee Fullagar, and Courtney Anderson. Not one of these women ever stood the chance at safety in this country. Not one. And what you'll notice is that violence does not discriminate based on race, sexuality, profession, lifestyle, hair color, skin color, and whatnot. It doesn't discriminate. 70%, again, 70% of women are killed by their intimate male partner. That is so many women. It's not normal. Shame!
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 We encourage those in crisis or anyone who knows someone in crisis to reach out to 1-800-RESPECT, Lifeline, and Men's Line. Thank you so much. And now we're going to move on to our first speaker, who is an incredible poet, an incredible voice in the First Nations community. And I want you to really show up for her because she's got a very strengthened voice and it deserves to be heard. Her name is Lorna Munro. Lorna is a Wiradjuri poet and artist, a kinship carer mother of a child with disabilities, and a public housing advocate who grew up in Redfern and Waterloo. She works with a community archive she started herself after years of podcasting the history of Redfern and its current gentrification. Give Lorna a warm welcome, please.
Thanks, Ava, for having me. I think, first off, I'm a little bit shaken up after hearing all of those women's names. Listen, anyone knows me knows I don't need a microphone, but I love the prompt. What I was trying to say is that I'm a little bit rattled after hearing all of those names. And I want everybody to really think about all of these women when we talk about these issues. As Eva said, I grew up in Housing Commission in Waterloo. A lot of my work is about my community and platforming the history of the Black Power movement in this country and resistance as we know it. And I want to acknowledge my nephew's mother, who is in this list, Mavis Stanley. And again, just acknowledge how rattled we as a community have been. I didn't come here to shit on my own community, but I do want to acknowledge that there has been a very prominent football player who was charged with assaulting his partner. There's been absolute silence in my community. Unfortunately, for generations, the emphasis has been on football. And if you're not into football, then you can get fucked, pretty much. I was never encouraged to be a writer. At school, I was never encouraged to be a poet. So a lot of my early work as a poet was going back into the schools and talking to young people from my community about thinking about alternative, career paths and getting into the arts and how much help the arts and poetry was for me as a young person. I also just want to mention, some of the conversations that I had with those young girls back at my old high school in particular. Because, when I was 15, I was told basically, go get on the pension like the rest of your friends when I was in year 10. It was only out of sheer spite that I stayed in school. And then would come back and talk to the girls about the increasing statistics, how leaving school at that age would have doubled my chances of being in a domestic violence relationship. And ultimately being incarcerated. Now, a lot of Aboriginal women are incarcerated because of domestic violence related issues. And in my generation, the statistics have quadrupled. I think it's Aboriginal women are like 64 times more likely to be a victim of violence in the colony. I was asked to do an acknowledgement of country, and I don't quite know how to do that at this point without talking about the colony and about the roots of this issue, which stems within the colony. We cannot talk about violence against women without acknowledging that Aboriginal women were hunted in the first years of the colony in this very space. We can't talk about any of these issues or move beyond these issues without going at the root, which is violence against Aboriginal women. And unfortunately, as long as the colony exists, there will be violence against Aboriginal women and children. So if we suffer that fate, it's inevitable that everybody else does. And we really have to emphasize that in all of these conversations. And we have to know our history. It's hard to be here and not talk about the landing of the Lady Julianne ship in the colony and how those women did not even make it past the beach without being raped. Some of them didn't survive. Aboriginal people saw this and they fled this area because we knew damn well if you treated your own people like that, how were you going to treat us? And nothing much has changed in the 235 years of illegally occupation of this colony. It's hard not to talk about how normalised this violence is. And again, we need to look at the root. There's an intersection with police and churches that have made this violence so normalised in this colony. And I want people to go and have a look at Auntie Irene Watson's work and how she's been able to trace evidence of domestic violence in Aboriginal communities. We come from matriarchal societies as well as patriarchal societies. I come from an unbroken matriarchal bloodline, which not many people can say 235 years into an illegally occupied colony. What I was saying is that there is a direct link between the destruction of matriarchal societies in this colony and the churches. In Auntie Irene's work, she talks about the church leaders convincing the Aboriginal men that they needed to publicly shame, abuse and humiliate our matriarchs because the colony is afraid of matriarchs. The colony is afraid of sisterhood, which is why it's so ingrained, which is why, sorry, I've turned my microphone off. I'm nervous, I'm like shaky. You got this, Dave. Thank you so much for the love and support.
You're amazing and we love you and you're doing really well. And this topic is very, very, very triggering. We don't do trigger warnings at these rallies because why would we? Why would we do that? Get triggered. I don't care. Get triggered. Sorry.
And you've done such an amazing job at setting the standard and how we talk about this. And it's completely rattled me. And we all should be rattled. If you're not fucking rattled, you are not human.
It's not normal.
So in saying how afraid the colony is of solidarity, how afraid the colony is of matriarchal societies, of tiddership, of sisterhood, I wanted to share a poem that I wrote about being a black woman. My black womanhood was never celebrated. nor was it ever stated that I was allowed to say it, acknowledged or encouraged to ever really pay it any mind. I was shamed, told to stay in line, shut up and tried to find another way to articulate the situations I faced with no empathy. We got no time for your memory, you'll be fine. My black womanhood was never celebrated, often castrated and hated, compromised and made unsafe in situations I related to, institutions I fell straight through. That idea of waiting to speak my turn, waiting for a white man to burn my ancestry at every turn. I refuse to listen to their words, the rejoicing of all Australians in that musical form, aliens in our own lands, families torn, all for a policy that stole children from the time that they were born. No more will we stand. My black womanhood was never celebrated or elevated from the position of a servant. My rights were never protected. Everything I got, earned that. My body was never further from the truth, from the colonial ideas that took me back to my youth. Taunts about my race, my people, the way I spoke and thought, the look on my face. You hurt me with your wealth and was not observant of my pain. Chose to remain on stolen land and told us to stay away. Put us in chains, ordered to get down on knees and hands and pray. Work the flesh from our elders with no equal pay. Today, these city streets demand the rightful treatment we so deserved. My black womanhood was never celebrated, so I celebrated every single dance. Every step being an advance. Every second of every day, I practice self-love any which way I can, because it's hard to drop the ball and lend. Can't afford fake friends when everyone's waiting for your end. I can't pretend that what surrounds isn't built on lies. I can't pretend that everything is fine. I've run out of lines to bend. So I tend to my garden of spiritual growth in the hope that I can love. Clip those weeds we see crawling through TVs and look in glory and thank the Creator above. That I am a black woman. And we have survived.
You're right, we love you. Really, I'm a little bit worried about things that come out of my mouth, because I am a truth person, I'm a truth speaker. You may, I don't know, resonate with women in media who might speak the way I do, who might get a lot of flack. Well, they're white. I'm not. So why do you think I'm not speaking up on the internet? Who here is old enough to remember the Cronulla riots? Yeah. So I'm an Arab woman. Every single woman speaking here today is a marginalized woman. Marginalized women have a plight that white women will never understand, and we don't want you to understand. We just want you to stand in fucking solidarity and not making it about yourself. It's not about you and us, it's about all of us. It's not a divide, it's all of us. You could be university educated, I'm university educated. You could be a sex worker, you could be a trans woman, you could be a black woman. You're still going to be killed due to this. This doesn't discriminate, and it is not normal. So thank you for being here, and thank you to the white women for being here. I didn't want to make this about them, but thank you for showing up. Go and teach all your other white friends, please. Please, it's not a personal attack. If you can remove yourself and your ego, you will completely understand what we're talking about. So thank you. What a story. What a reality. Thank you so much, Lorna. Thank you so much. I really appreciate anyone who has the courage to stand here and speak about this, because it's very, very tiring. It's not fun. It is not easy. It's not for clout. It is not for ego. It is not for Instagram likes. It is not performative. I'm a little bit worried about things that come out of my mouth, because I am a truth person, I'm a truth speaker. You may, I don't know, resonate with women in media who might speak the way I do, who might get a lot of flack. Well, they're white, I'm not. So why do you think I'm not speaking up on the internet? here is old enough to remember the Cronulla riots? Yep. So I'm an Arab woman. Every single woman speaking here today is a marginalized woman. Marginalized women have a plight that white women will never understand, and we don't want you to understand. We just want you to stand in fucking solidarity and not making it about yourself. It's not about you and us, it's about all of us. It's not a divide, it's all of us. You could be university educated, I'm university educated. You could be a sex worker, you could be a trans woman, you could be a black woman. You're still gonna be killed due to this. This doesn't discriminate, and it is not normal. So thank you for being here, and thank you to the white women for being here. I didn't want to make this about them, but thank you for showing up. Go and teach all your other white friends, please. Please, it's not a personal attack. If you can remove yourself and your ego, you will completely understand what we're talking about. So thank you. I'm going to welcome an amazing woman who was actually an international student who migrated here in 2009. Yeah, 2009. Hannah Thomas is a candidate for the Greens. She's a powerful, powerful woman in a small package, best type of women. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a context about her. And I want you guys to really hear the words of the speakers, because it took a lot of courage for them to be here. It takes a lot of strength to talk on a topic that everyone is silent about. Everyone. So thank you, Hannah, for being here and doing this when you have nothing really to gain from doing it. So I appreciate that. Hannah Thomas is a lawyer, activist, and writer, currently renting on unceded Gadigal land in Newtown. Represent. She has been involved in community organising and activism for years on issues such as refugee rights, the climate crisis, integrity in politics, and freedom for Palestine. She is running in the seat of Greenlaw this election for the Greens, taking on the Prime Minister himself. Woo! Vote one, Hannah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for putting on such profound and difficult, but so necessary. I want to firstly acknowledge and pay respect to the true, rightful, and sovereign owners of the lands here, the Gadigal people. Their lands were violently stolen, and justice has never been served. We need to tell the truth about what happened in this country and commit ourselves to treaty and justice for First Nations people. I acknowledge and honor the lives and loved ones of the First Nations women, girls, and gender diverse people who have been murdered since the invasion of this country. Just like we hide, ignore, and gloss over the truth about this country's violent history, we so often gloss over the reality that First Nations women are many times more likely to die from family violence than non-First Nations women. Yet their murders rarely spark public outrage or get media attention, and that needs to end. First Nations women deserve our uproar, and they deserve our action. It's an honor to be with you here today to loudly and firmly say, stop killing women. 117 women have been killed in this country, mostly by men they know, in just 14 and a half months. One woman is too many. 117 women is an absolute national shame, a disgrace.
Shame!
Shame! Shame!
Shame!
Shame!
Shame!
Shame on Albanese!
Shame on Albanese!
Shame on the government!
Shame on the government!
This works out to one woman every 4 days, and most of the time we never even hear about it. Men killing women once or twice a week is just business as usual. So normalized and so routine that governments and power structures seem totally numb to the numbers, every one of which represents a real person who had hopes and dreams that were snuffed out by a violent man. And things are not changing. 2024 was one of the worst years for violence against women in this country and around the world. And while the number of murdered women is front and center of most of the discourse, we can't forget that for every woman murdered, there are so many others who are terrorized in their own homes, bashed, abused, and raped every day, or subject to coercive control and emotional or financial abuse. Tabitha, whose story I'm sharing with consent, is just one example. For years, Tabitha was relentlessly assaulted by her ex-partner and father of her youngest child. He is now out on parole after being released on International Women's Day.
Shame! Boo!
As he tasted his freedom, Tabitha spent the day installing security systems and trying to make sure she's as safe as possible from someone who has made it very clear that he will continue to hunt her down. For years, she has lived in constant fear, and as his recent release date approached, she begged the parole board for time and help to relocate. She begged for help from housing services, but they couldn't relocate her. She wrote to ministers, MPs, advocates over and over again, but no one helped her. Even professionals who regularly support survivors were hitting dead ends. Because in this system, victims have to fight for every scrap of safety, and too often victims are only believed when it's too late. No woman should be turned away when they seek help, leaving a violent relationship and looking for safety. But sadly, Tabitha is not alone. The number of women seeking help is dangerously high, and frontline services are at capacity. So many women are being turned away, and that is utterly unacceptable. Every single woman turned away is a government failure. Every single woman turned away should weigh on this government's conscience. Substantial long-term funding is needed for frontline services right now. This is a wealthy country. We can absolutely afford to do it, and frankly, it's the bare minimum.
True.
The priorities of this government are all wrong when we can spend hundreds of billions of dollars on nuclear submarines, but we can't even fully fund frontline services.
Shame!
We should be fully funding the National Plan to End Violence Against Women and Children, so no one has to choose between homelessness and violence. The Greens want to ensure that plan is fully funded, so women fleeing violence can get the help they need, and so we can invest heavily in prevention and behavior change programs to change the attitudes which underpin violence themselves. For violence against women to end, we need zero tolerance when it comes to male entitlement, misogyny, sexism, harassment, and abuse. There is absolutely no excuse for police, the justice system, politicians, or the media to minimize violence, to victim blame, or to gaslight. But so often, women are still not believed. So often, men are still excused. We need to address power and privilege. We need to stop pretending men who kill women are just good blokes who just snapped. Family and domestic violence is overwhelmingly something that men do to women, and we must reckon with that. We must reckon with deep-rooted misogyny, male entitlement, the patriarchy itself, and the stubborn, underlying power imbalance that lies at the heart of the problem. Financial insecurity is a massive issue. Women have less savings, they have less super, we earn less, our jobs are more insecure, more likely to be casualized. Women are disproportionately impacted by cost of living, by housing, and the climate crises, all of which our government is totally failing to address. And we know that in any crisis, men take out their anger and their stress on women. And the system continues to fail so many, especially Aboriginal women, women of color, trans women, queer women, women with a disability, all of whom face extra barriers trying to access frontline services. Governments need to invest in services run by and for them. We also cannot and can never ignore the connection between imperialism and the patriarchy, and the connection between domestic violence and military violence. We can't demand an end to male violence but stay silent on white supremacy, colonization, or state-sanctioned violence against entire nations. What's happening in Palestine is an obvious example. Just this week, the UN released a report which concluded that sexual violence, forced public stripping, nudity, sexual harassment, threats of rape, as well as sexual assault, is part of the Israeli Security Forces' standard operating procedure towards Palestinians.
Shame!
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 The report also found that Israel deliberately targets sexual and reproductive healthcare facilities across Gaza. These horrors are part of Israel's decades-long oppression of Palestinians, which has seen countless women and children slaughtered by Western imperialist violence. And all that is linked to male violence here. We must demand an end to our government's complicity in the genocide. And we must always remember that any inaction is a political choice. Our governments can and they must do better. If governments can act with such urgency and decisiveness off the back of fake terror plots, why the hell can't they act when it comes to years of women after women after women getting murdered by men? Our Prime Minister should have made it a priority to be at these rallies. He should have made it a priority for his government to throw everything at stopping the epidemic of male violence, but that has not happened. We need to demand better, and as we head into an election, now is the time to do it. Thank you.
Safety for women. What do we want?
Safety for women.
What do we want?
Safety for women.
What do we want?
Safety for women.
What do we want?
Safety for women.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
When?
Now.
When?
Now.
Now. Albanese, shame on you. Albanese,
Shame on you.
Albanese,
Shame on you.
Albanese,
Shame on you.
Albanese.
Shame on you.
This fucker never shows up, does he? Never shows up. Never shows up. Make sure that your vote counts for something you believe in. Your vote matters in this country. We don't live in fucking America. Make it count. I'm going to say it, you're going to repeat it. We will not back down. We will get louder and louder. We will not back down.
We will get louder and louder. We will not back down. We will get louder and louder. We will not back down. We will get louder and louder.
You can keep going. Louder and louder.
We will not back down.
Louder and louder.
Louder and louder.
Louder and louder.
Louder and louder.
Louder than that. Louder and louder.
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 I love you guys. Thank you. Our next speaker, I'm going to ask her something real quick. I'm going to ask her permission for something real quick. All right. Okay, I got her permission. Consent. So Asfami is an amazing Arabian woman. I will go into the details in a minute. When Az said that she would speak at this rally, I had a man message me. Basically, Az has a stalker. And this man is being followed by, as in Instagram, followed by some really, I don't know, people that I respected, I guess. And it just made me go, you can be the most profound, radiant voice. You can speak on hundreds of topics that Az speaks on. You can be an activist in many, many, many spaces, but because you're a woman, it's never enough for men. It's never enough. Basically told Az, you're not doing enough for Syria. Az is half Syrian, for fuck's sake. It's never enough what we do. They always want to have a say. They always want to infiltrate our spaces. It's a shame because they could just be our allies, right? They could just be our allies. Just be our ally. We just need you to stand here alongside us and shut the fuck up. Just stand here and shut up, because this is not about ego. This is not about ego. And I love the men that are here. I love you. I love you because I know that you don't have an ego. And that's something that 99.9% of men do have. And that makes you incredible. And that's a shame that this is the way we have to keep boosting men to come to these things, keep boosting men, because 1 out of maybe 20 people here is a man. That's not enough. We need all of them to stand alongside us and say, this is a problem. And this is not our problem, this is their problem. This is their problem. We're not killing each other. They're killing us. They're killing us. They're our partners. I mean, not my partner, I'm gay. They're killing us. When I had a DV relationship with a man, it was my first long-term relationship with a man. There's a probable reason. I'm sure there's a reason I don't date men anymore. And I'm pretty sure a lot of women can agree with that sentiment. I just don't feel safe. I'm sorry. Sorry, I don't feel safe. So thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing your male partners. I appreciate it a lot. We will not back down. We will get louder and louder. We will not back down. We will get louder and louder. We will not back down. We will get louder and louder. 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 Let me give Az a formal introduction. Az Farmi is a communications manager and a human rights advocate based in Gadigal. Az worked in refugee camps, so has frontline experience of domestic and family violence. Az is a founding board member of community organisation Markaz, Swim Sisters Australia, and a trustee of Mission of Hope. This woman's bio was impressive, and I couldn't fit it in the social media graphic, but I urge you to follow all of the women online who are here today, and you can find it through my page, because women who speak up are so much more at risk than women who do not speak up. So every woman here, it sounds dramatic, but it's not, it's real. Every woman speaking up today is at more risk for speaking up than any other woman who doesn't speak up. So we really have to support the ones who do. We really have to have their back and a sense of community. So raise your hands and really let them know that you're here for them, that you stand in solidarity with their voices. Thank you very much. This is Az.
Event and for your powerful words, and Viv and the rest of the team, thank you so much for having me. My name's Az, and I'm an immigrant to this country. My family migrated here from a war zone, actually. I'm half Syrian, half Iraqi, so I've seen both my countries of origin destroyed, basically. But before I begin, I would like to obviously acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, which we're gathered here today, and pay my respects to elders, past and present. Sovereignty was never ceded. This land was, is, and always will be Aboriginal land. Now I stand before you today with a heavy heart. I wish we never had to gather here today to raise awareness about the horrifying epidemic of violence against women in this colony. But here we are. We simply don't have a choice at this point. I've been working in community for decades, in particular the Arab and Muslim communities here in Sydney, and I'd like to share my experiences from that perspective. As has been mentioned a few times, 14 women have already lost their lives to gender-based violence this year. In 2023, it was 74 women. This figure rose to 101 women in 2024. Shame! These are not just numbers. This is the life of a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend that were taken far too soon. And it's interesting because when I mention this topic to especially men, they're not interested until it happens to their own sister, to their own, family member, to someone they know. That's when they become interested, and it shouldn't be the case. As Hannah mentioned, on average, one woman is killed every 4 days due to family violence. These are lives, families and communities absolutely shattered. And yet, despite this devastating crisis, our government's response has been inadequate. They have not met the funding requirements to deal with this issue. We have overcrowded shelters, underfunded services, and a justice system that continues to fail women time and time again. Women seeking safety in refuges often find these places overcrowded, and too many women within marginalised communities, such as my own community, lack culturally sensitive services to meet their specific needs. These women have thought about leaving 1,000 times in their heads before they eventually take the brave step to leave. So it's important to provide them with the right support to ensure that they don't return. The rent crisis, housing affordability, and the rising cost of living have made the situation even more urgent. So I would like to speak about my own community for a moment. Muslim women face unique challenges in escaping violence, with few refuges and support systems that cater to their specific needs. Many of them return back to their violent partners as they feel the systems are insufficient to support them or their children. Newly arrived migrants and refugees are even more vulnerable as they're having to deal with language barriers, social isolation, lack of finances, and other cultural barriers. And there's a topic I would like to briefly raise here today that I feel is often neglected in this discourse. Some might find it a bit controversial, and that is there is a dangerous intersection of Islamophobia and gendered violence. I recently attended the launch of the 5th Islamophobia in Australia report, and the stats were alarming. Muslim women in this country are facing the compounded terror of both racial and gendered violence. Between January 2023 and November 2024, 309 incidents of Islamophobic violence were reported, including physical assaults. 75% of overall incidents were targeted at women and girls.
Shame!
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 This isn't just racism, it's misogyny. It's violence aimed directly at women simply because of their identity. And it's an attempt to silence, to intimidate, and to marginalise women and girls, many of whom are visible due to their attire. These attacks must be acknowledged, and we must commit to fighting back against both the racial and gendered oppression faced by women. Recently, I raised this issue with a politician. I asked about his policies and whether he would address the issue of violence against women for the upcoming election. He told me it wasn't a key issue and they were only focusing on what will... And that they will only be focusing on what will impact the economy.
Oh,
Yeah, so let's talk about the economy, since politicians only seem to listen when you present things within that framework. The economic impact of violence against women is massive. Domestic violence costs the Australian economy an estimated $26 billion every year. Let that sink in, $26 billion. This includes the costs of healthcare, legal services, social services, and the lost productivity of women who are affected. Women who experience violence take time off work, face unemployment, and endure economic abuse that can trap them in dangerous relationships. 1 in 4 women experience economic abuse and their access to finances controlled by their abusers. This means that women are being prevented from leaving violent situations, which obviously only perpetuates the cycle of abuse. And the toll on children is equally devastating. Children exposed to domestic violence often face long-term emotional and developmental challenges, which can lead to increased healthcare costs, higher rates of criminal behaviour, and lower productivity later in life. And as we know, the 2025 elections are fast approaching. We must make violence against women a priority in every conversation. This is not just a women's issue. This is a national crisis that affects families, communities, and the very fabric of our society. Lives are at stake. We need action, we need accountability, we need to demand more from our politicians and our institutions. We need sustained funding for services that support victims and survivors of violence. Crisis accommodation and shelters are at capacity, as they mentioned earlier. Many operators have said they've turned women and children away because they are under-resourced. And I just had this experience 2 days ago. A woman looking for crisis accommodation, and the organisations that we had referred her to said that they were at capacity. We also need culturally sensitive refuges and programs that cater to the diverse needs of all women. We need education and prevention programs to address some of the root causes of gender-based violence, misogyny, racism, inequality. We need funding to go into frontline services, housing, recovery programs, and prevention measures. Because until we do that, we can't actually effectively tackle this issue. Every survivor of violence should have access to the support they deserve, whether it's financial assistance, appropriate accommodations, support services, legal aid. We need to stop the excuses. As we approach the upcoming elections, I urge you all to make violence against women a key issue when you cast your vote. Hold your local representatives accountable. Demand they stand up for the women in this colony who are suffering, who are dying, and who are afraid. Call your MPs, attend community meetings and town halls, raise your voices, keep commenting under their social media. Please keep doing that, because it's really good when I see that. And, sign those petitions. Use your vote for change. We must ensure that the policies we choose are those that prioritise women's safety and well-being. And we cannot afford to wait any longer. This is a crucial time when politicians and your representatives will be listening, because trust me, they listen harder right before elections. Together, we have the power to demand real transformative change. No more excuses, no more bullshit, no more delays, no more lives lost. Thank you.
About it, let me tell you that. We have around 50 to 60 people that have worked on this campaign nationwide. That is a lot of people for one campaign, for one day, for one rally around the country, is it not? 60 people. Imagine that. Every volunteer here today, every speaker here today, all around the country, 60 or so people. Every single person that speaks on feminism online, every single media person that speaks on feminist issues online, they're not here. Let that mean something to you. Again, nuance. Let 2025 be the year of nuance. If you don't know what it means, it just means there are layers, there are subtleties. Read between the lines. There's a reason they're not here. Because they don't care. And they can say, oh, it's because, I was scared I was gonna get attacked. I'm scared that I was gonna get attacked. I'm scared. I'm a nobody, and I'm Arab, and I'm queer. You're a somebody, and you're not here. There's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. It's a big loss. It's a big loss, performative activism. It's a stupid thing. But you're not here for that. So I'm proud of every single one of you that you came here on a Saturday, and you could be at the beach, you could be at the pub, you could be on a first date, but you decided to be here to show up. So I want you to give yourself a round of applause. Because you really are doing more than any politician in this country, any performative feminist on the internet. You're doing more than most of them. So well done. What do we want? Safety for women. When do we want it? Now. What do we want?
Safety for women.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Safety for women.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Safety for women.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Safety for women.
When do we want it?
Now.
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 Now. Now. Now. We want it now. We don't want it after your next budget, after your next federal election. We want it now. We want it every day. We want it for every single woman. We don't want it for just a certain type of woman. We want it for all women. We deserve freedom here and safety here and respect here right now. We live in a fully developed, motherfucking colonized country. We have every resource on the planet available to us. We have more resources than the majority of the planet. We have ample amounts of money for this, and we just don't care. Shame. Such a shame. I'm going to introduce the next speaker. I'll stop rambling. Everyone awake? Everyone good? You need to stretch, you need to stand up, feel free. It's grassroots, you guys. Nothing performative about it. You can do whatever you want. You want to howl, you want to cry, you want to wail, we allow it. Anything you want, do it. When we finish today, we're going to have what we tried to create, an aftercare section. Not a single fucking supermarket would donate a single fucking dollar to help.
Shame!
Not a single fucking dollar. Because we're going to have a cute little, snacks, water, aftercare. So we're going to create the aftercare virtually. We're going to have it in the corner there. Okay, so once we're done here, you're going to feel a lot of emotions, okay? I don't want you to just run off. I want you to take a minute, hug the women around you, ask them if they're okay, share your stories if you're comfortable, get each other's details. You're each other's community. Penrith, Blacktown, Bondi, wherever you're from, you're each other's community. Make the most of it, because these women are the ones that show up. These are the best women in the country. So don't forget that aftercare section at the end here. Please just come along. Let's have chats, let's have a yarn, let's cry, let's laugh, let's hug, okay? Our next speaker, we talked about this. It's quite funny. It's quite funny. Normally at these events, you'll have all white women and one marginalized woman. Today we have one white woman, who's the most amazing white woman, and all marginalized women. So I really want you to make her feel comfortable, because she's an introvert, she is shy, she's lovely. She makes ceramics in the Blue Mountains. She spends 16-hour days making ceramics. Stop killing women. Ceramics. She matters. Ceramics. She's a someone. She's someone. Ceramics. Under the Lotus Ceramics, if you want to write it down. She is amazing. She's phenomenal. And her name is Megan Dolezal. And I'm going to give her a quick introduction. And I'm going to let her speak to you. And I haven't looked at her speech, okay? So whatever comes out of her mouth, I'm excited to hear it. Megan Dolezal is an artist and activist and domestic violence survivor based in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales. A fierce advocate for women's rights and a relentless voice against femicide. Meg channels personal experience into powerful action, using art, storytelling, and grassroots activism to challenge violence and demand justice. Please give her a huge warm welcome. She is shy. Give her some attention, some encouragement, and let's see what she has to say. I apologize for the shitty speaker system. We got it volunteered to us. We don't get funding for these things. We really just do it because we care. So it's entirely volunteer run. Every single rally that's happening right now, all around the country, and I'm pretty sure there's 13 or 14, is entirely volunteer run and independently funded. So if you don't already follow Sherelle Moody, who's just a complete powerhouse of a woman, a Taurus woman, amazing, she's amazing. She reports on the deaths of all women, not just the white women, not just the privileged women, all women. Thank you so much, Az. I really quickly wanted to talk about something that I talked about at my first rally in January. This will be my last rally. Don't worry, I'm not a rally person. It's not about my personality. It's really about, no one was doing it, so I did it. That was in January, and no one was doing it again, so I did it. It's not about me. There are two types of victim. There are two types of victim that the media will pile onto, okay? So I worked in media for a decade. So I'm 31. I was in media since I was 18. In some form or another, I've worked in media since I was 18. There is the ideal victim, and then there is the cautionary tale victim. The ideal victim is the one you're going to hear about in the news. Does anyone remember the name Jill Ma? Yes, Jill Ma was a professional who worked at the ABC. She's university educated. She was a white woman. And she was brutally raped and murdered in an alleyway on her way home from the pub. Jill Ma received more coverage than most of these women will ever receive in their entire month or so after they die. She received more of that in the 2 or 3 days after she died than these women will ever get. And that is a huge shame. 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 And it is not about dishonoring Jill Ma. It is not, again, there's so much nuance to this. There is so much nuance. There are so many layers. It is about the fact that the media will only ever let you know about the ideal victim that just so happened to die the other week, and not any of the 117 victims that you see here. And that's just a huge shame. 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 Let's talk about the cautionary tale victim. All of these women are. The cautionary tale victim. You're not going to read about her in the paper. You're not going to read about her online. You're not going to even know that she exists. Because she's not a white, educated, working professional. She's just another woman. And her life, according to the Australian public, does not have the same weight as the life of someone along the lines of Jill Ma. Shame. 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 So when I make TikToks or I make videos or I make Instagram posts or whatever about this topic, I get a lot of flack. I get told she didn't die from violence against women. Well, actually, every woman who's been killed in this realm is violence against women, because every woman that dies from gendered violence, intimate partner violence, stranger violence, 2 women here were killed by a drunk driver, a man. It's all forms of violence. We're not just talking about domestic violence, we're talking about all forms of violence that women experience. And you shouldn't have to be considered the precautionary tale. You're not a cautionary tale. You're a fucking woman. And if you die, we should honor your name regardless of any of the factors that don't make you the ideal victim. It's all just very illogical in this country. It's all very, very nonsensical. Think about that for a minute. Think about, heaven forbid, think about if you were killed, what the media headlines would report about you. What are the key factors that they're going to scour up about, your online profile, your dating profile? Yeah, they get photos from your dating profile. They'll do that. They don't care. Charlize Hayter, bikini photos for her obituary. Bikini photos. They don't give a fuck. They're going to get the exact photo that suits the storyline that they're trying to sell, because they don't care. They just care about selling papers. They don't care about the fact that a woman's been killed, that her family members are going to read about that. They don't care. Shame. 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 Horrific stuff. Horrific stuff we're talking about, and yet, why are there only 100 of us here? Where are all the loud online women feminists? Where are they? You don't see them here, and it's not because they don't fucking know.
I've never held a microphone. I actually don't. I actually don't leave the house. because of my experiences. But seeing this laid out like this is just absolutely shattering. So, closer. Okay. So I'm a domestic violence survivor, and I know what it means to flinch at the sounds of footsteps and hold your breath when a door slams. But I was one of the lucky ones, and I shouldn't have had to have been lucky, because no woman should have to bet her life on the fact that we're gonna do two now. When I say that I'm lucky to have escaped domestic violence, what I actually mean is that I was privileged, because survival's not a privilege that's afforded to all women equally. When I reached out for help, I found the options, and they were imperfect, but they were available. But for too many other women, women of colour, Indigenous women, sex workers, trans women, undocumented women, their cries echo into silence, and their lives are treated as afterthoughts. There's even a name for this phenomenon, which is the less dead, and it describes victims whose disappearances and murders receive little media attention and little attention from the public, because their deaths are not seen as tragedies but inevitabilities. And femicide is not random, and it is not inevitable. It is a direct result of a system that allows men to harm and kill women without consequence. It's a product of a world where law enforcement fails to intervene and restraining orders are just pieces of paper. And this crisis does not fall on all women equally. We see it over and over again. So we need to refuse this silence and demand accountability and fight for the policies that actually protect women. And for those of us with privilege, for those of us who are white, for those of us who are economically stable and have been heard when we call for help, it's not enough to care. We must act. And that means listening to and following the lead of the women most affected. It means using our voices not to take up space, but to create it. And we will fight for the women we have lost. We will fight for the women who are still fighting, and build a world where no more names are added to this list, because we refuse to lose one more sister to this violence.
Thank you so much. We will not back down. Now, right now. Because when a boy becomes a man who's at the point where he's a narcissistic sociopath that's about to stab his woman through the heart, it's too late, okay? You can't rehabilitate a sociopath, you guys. Sorry. A man doesn't just wake up one day and kill his wife. Sorry, most of these men would understand that there is such a thing as anger, right? There is such a thing as anger. These men are not going around killing their woman. So this concept that a man, a regular everyday man, wakes up one day and kills his wife or kills his girlfriend is not normal. It is not normal, and it is not true, okay? Because these men don't wake up one day and do that. So why do those men wake up one day and do that? Because it's too far gone for them. Do you see what I'm saying? It's too far gone for them. It's too late for them. They already hate women. They're already incels on Reddit. All right? They already have porn addictions. They don't care for women. They see women as objects and non-human, which is key to remember. They see women as non-human, right? Because Khulud Hawat's husband typed into Google, how many years for murder in Sydney? He typed that in, right? He typed that in. Shame. So think about that for a minute. If a man can premeditate a woman's murder, and this woman took out that many DVOs since 2006 and no one gave a fuck. They said everything was fine. Everything was fine. And guess what? In February of the year that she died, they loosened the DVO. They loosened the rules, and he was allowed to see her, and he stabbed her in front of all their 5 children. Shame. Shame. These men don't care. This is what, I'm gonna speak louder. I'm getting angrier. Shark Week for me, guys. All right. These men don't actually care. They don't care about being in jail, okay? Jail is not punishment for them. It isn't. So we need to realign the way we think about this topic, because if jail is not punishment, imagine literally being plunked out of this park and put into a jail cell. You're gonna be fucking terrified, right? You're gonna be terrified. You're gonna be terrified shitless. You're gonna do everything you can to avoid getting put in jail. These men don't care. He literally didn't care. He literally Googled it. He was told 10 years, and I'm pretty sure he got 9 years in jail. He didn't care. He doesn't care. He just wanted to kill her. He didn't care. He didn't care that they just had 5 children. He didn't care that when they loosened his DVO, they were just having their 5th child. He didn't care. He doesn't care. So when they say to you, oh, we need to rehabilitate the men, no, we don't need to rehabilitate the sociopathic men that kill their wives. We need to reform young boys before they get to that point. See my point? Because from here to there is a good 20 to 30 years, right? You have a good 10 to 15 years to get into that boy's mind that, hey, women are actually human, mate. They're human, yeah? And you love women, don't you? And women treat you good, don't you? Women don't often violently kill you and rape you, do they? Sorry. So, what do we want? Boys' education. When do we want it? Now. What do we want?
Boys' education!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Boys' education!
When do we want it?
Now!
Now.
Now!
Now.
Now!
Right fucking now.
Now! Fucking now!
I love you. Thank you. All right. Let's move along. Our next speaker is a really well-known voice in the sex work community. A really, really, really interesting and unique backstory of how she got to be someone that is speaking on this stage. She's a phenomenal woman. She is community-driven. She cares about the people around her. And far too often, the system has failed her. But we're not gonna fail her. We're gonna put our hands together and we're gonna welcome her because she's got some wonderful words to say. So this is Viv, and she goes by Tilly online, and that's her online persona. And there's a reason behind that, and she will tell you the reason behind that. Thank you. Louder and louder.
Louder and louder!
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 Okay, I'm gonna ad hoc this one with the 3 demands that we're asking, okay? I want you to try and remember them after this. If you can't, all good. As you know, the 3 demands that we're asking for this country is to educate young boys at the school level how to treat women, how to talk to women, how to look after women. The second thing we're asking, the second demand we're requesting is a reform on DVOs, okay? Because DVOs don't do jack shit, and they should. If they're there for a reason, then they should absolutely be there to protect the women. And they're just simply not there for that reason. They're basically there that if a woman wants to take her violent abuser, who she's terrified of, to court, then maybe she can take that with her as evidence. Shame.
Shame!
Shame.
Shame!
Shame.
Shame!
Shame.
Shame!
ACAB.
ACAB!
ACAB.
ACAB!
ACAB.
ACAB!
ACAB.
ACAB!
The cop that was put in charge of this rally, Mr. Jason Loretto. Let me tell you about him. I don't give a fuck, as you can tell. Jason Loretto, Constable Jason Loretto. Jason Loretto was put in charge of the Form 1. So a Form 1 is a public permit for a protest, okay? And we said to Mr. Jason Loretto, please, sir, can we have our rally, our peaceful protest, right near the Anzac Memorial? And he said, no. He said, that's really, he actually said this to me in the phone call, and I am not lying. I do not lie. He said to me, isn't that disrespectful to the Anzac people?
Shame!
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 Shame! Isn't that disrespectful to the Anzac people that you're going to do that at the Anzac Memorial? And I literally just like sat there on the phone dumbfounded, and I thought, does this fucker not get it? Does this fucker not get it? And I said to him, and I don't think a lot of women would have spoken up, because we are not taught as women to speak up. You are terrified when you have sex with your male partner. You're terrified to tell him how to go down on you. You're terrified to ask what you want. We are all taught that. We're all taught you're not important, you're not real, you're invisible, your pleasure means nothing, your voice means nothing, you're nothing. You're a piece of shit, you're an object. That's what we're taught. And this dickhead literally said to me, a rally about violence against women was disrespectful to the Anzac people.
Shame!
Fuck the police. Fuck the police. Who the fuck says that? This is such a sensitive topic. Who the fuck would say that? A cop would say that. Of course a cop would say that. Because did you know that most cops are actual DV perpetrators themselves? Well, no wonder it ruffled his fucking feathers. He's probably a DV perpetrator himself. Mr. Jason Loretto, don't forget him. He's famous for all the wrong reasons. I thought that was insane. He asked me to get approval from the Anzac people. He didn't even call them the Anzac Memorial. He said the Anzac people. And I said to him, there is no Anzac people. There's no fucking website. And he goes, well, you've got to change the location. So I called Sherelle, who's a tough motherfucker, and I said, Sherelle, I'm not changing the rally location. Sorry, I'm not changing it. We're having it at the Anzac Memorial. I'm not changing it. And even Sherelle, who's even more of a lesbian, like, power force than me, said to me, Eva, you should change the location of the rally. You should change the location. And I said, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. She goes, okay. Tell him it's going to be 100 meters from the memorial. And so he's not here today, so he probably didn't approve of that. Sorry. Not sorry, you're right, we're not sorry, fuck him. Anyway, I thought that was an entertaining little story for you on your Saturday afternoon. Thank you for being here. So the 3 reforms, the 3rd reform, more and better funding for emergency crisis relief. More and better. Better because the fucking funding they give, it's basically just like a free-for-all. It's a free-for-all. They just give you a bunch of funding. They go, do what you want in your space. And your space just means women. It doesn't mean domestic violence. It doesn't mean, violence against trans women or violence against Indigenous women. It's just your space, women. Do what you want with that money. Specific funding for women to support them in emergency crisis situations. That's what we want. We want women to be able to know how to seek help the second they pick up that phone number that they were given. We want them to be able to Google it and know exactly what to do. And they just don't know. And those seconds count. Every second counts when you're running from your life. You're literally running from a man that's blood hungry and he's about to kill you. So you're not thinking straight. You're not in the best headspace when you're escaping DV. They expect women to be, reading theses on this. We're not doing that, mate. We're being killed. We need emergency crisis relief and we need it now. Now!
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 When?
Now!
When?
Now!
Right now. Right now. Those seconds count. Every second counts. So stop killing women, right? So when I say, what do we want? You're gonna say, I don't know how to word this one. DV reform, okay? What do we want?
DV reform!
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 When do we want it?
Now!
When do we want it?
Now!
do we want?
TV reform!
TV reform. When do we want it?
Now!
When do we want it?
Now!
When do we want it?
Now!
Right now. I don't know how I'm going to wear the schoolboy one, so give me a hot minute. All right, let's do that. When I say what do we want, you're going to say boys' education. Okay? What do we want?
Boys' education!
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 When do we want it?
Now!
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 What do we want?
Boys' education!
What do we want?
Boys'
What do
education!
we want?
Boys'
What do
education!
we want?
Boys'
When
education!
do we want it?
Now!
When do we want it?
Now!
When do we want it?
Now!
Now.
Now!
Now.
Now!
Now.
Now!
Now.
Workers isolated, but it's when we find our solidarity among ourselves that we become stronger, safer, and more resilient. Yet even here in New South Wales, in the first state in the world to decriminalise the sex industry 30 years ago, violence against us still happens. Decriminalisation was a huge step forward, one that so many workers around the world are still fighting for. But it doesn't erase the stigma that puts us in danger. Let me make one thing clear. No one, absolutely no one, chooses to be violated, to be hurt, or to be stripped of their dignity. Why should we as women keep holding space to do men's emotional labour and education for them? Why should we keep extending invitations to a conversation they refuse to join? Enough. Enough of trying to coax the men into doing the bare minimum. Enough of begging them to take our pain seriously. For sex workers, for queer women, for women of colour, for women living with disabilities, or even women who use drugs, the barriers to safety and justice are even higher. Reporting violence as a sex worker can mean risking your livelihood or your safety. Seeking help as a woman of colour can mean being dismissed, criminalised, or ostracised. The systems that are supposed to protect us often fail the most marginalised among us. This is where community care comes in. The support we need is not going to come from the top down, so we have to start building our own networks of care and support. I just want to mention a quick shout out to the Addy Road community organisation in Marrickville. The services they offer, along with the beautiful staff, including the incredible CEO Rosanna, have shown me over the past few years what it really means to be a part of a community. If you're searching for one, I invite you to come down to Addy Road on Wednesday nights between 6 and 8. They provide a cooked meal to anyone who needs it, along with a range of free services like the Street Side Medics, the Feel Good Project, Four Voices, and Marrickville Legal, just to name a few. When I was sexually assaulted at 19, before coming out as queer, and years before entering the sex industry, the cops failed me. I was told my case was not worth pursuing, and the cops hung up on me before I had a chance to reply.
Shame! Shame!
ACAB forever. Having lived through this experience, after years of cops being useless within the family violence I experienced, I truly believe in the ACAB motto. It's up to us to build the communities that we want to be a part of. So I urge you to make your voice heard. Can you cook? Find a community kitchen to contribute to, or start one yourself, or even start with something as local as a potluck. Do you have money? Donate to mutual aid. Give to survivors directly and to grassroots organisations on the front lines. Are you an artist? Create pieces that make people feel and think and reflect. Are you an organiser? Get people together, share resources, build networks of support. Every single one of us has something to contribute. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. What matters is that we're actively resisting the systems that oppress us and actively supporting those who need us most. I know it feels overwhelming, but collective action is powerful. The last thing I want to discuss with you today is the fact that recently and forever, I've been hearing that change takes time. And if we do the work now, future generations are going to benefit. I call bullshit. am so honestly tired of hearing that because it simply is not true. When the government actually acknowledges an issue, they have the means to implement immediate change. Here in Sydney, we saw it when a number of fatal king hits happened in public spaces. Suddenly, the entire city was shut down and nightlife was killed. Arguably, there were other factors that fed into the Sydney lockdowns, but the point is clear. When they decide an issue is urgent, action is taken without hesitation. We saw the same urgency at the community level during the first years of the COVID pandemic. Marginalised people were left without support and communities had to step up and take care of each other. I experienced this firsthand in the sex worker community where many workers, especially migrants, were left with absolutely fuck all from any level of government. It was the peer-based orgs and individual community members who organised food hampers, set up fundraisers and created events, all while dealing with lockdowns and the complete loss of income themselves. The government could have helped, but they chose not to. Shame! And on a personal level, well, I was raised in the cult of Zionism, and I carry a lot of shame and guilt for my past complicity. But when my eyes were open to the realities, I made a commitment to use every bit of power I have to fight for a free Palestine. I took the time to educate myself so that I could do better. Change didn't take generations. It took our willingness to confront uncomfortable truths and to act. So let's keep pushing. Let's keep demanding justice. Let's keep making our voices loud and good thing I've got a loud voice. So let's keep pushing. Let's keep demanding justice. Let's keep making our voices loud, our resistance clear, and our love for each other unbreakable. Together we are unstoppable. Together we will change the world. Thank you. Hello. I'd like to acknowledge that we're all on stolen land here. This land was never ceded. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. So my name is Viv. Some of you may know me as Tilly Hortopia. Tilly Hortopia is my sex working persona. It's connected to my podcast Hortopia. And the reason I'm speaking today as Viv and not as Tilly is because the reality is I've experienced more male violence in my personal life than I have in the last 9 years of being Tilly the sex worker. I grew up experiencing domestic violence every single day of my life until I moved out of home at 19. I thought leaving would mean freedom from violence, but in the years that followed, I found myself in more DV relationships. One of those relationships was so financially and emotionally devastating that it led me to sex work after my partner stole half of my life savings. It's taken me a long time to stand here and speak about this because it's confronting, it's painful, it's isolating, and it's fucking exhausting. But I'm here because I'm tired, and we're all here because we're tired. Tired of how normalized this violence is. I'm tired of how little people care. A woman is being murdered in this colony every 4 days. Every 4 days, another woman's life is taken because a man decided that he had the right to take it. And yet, where is the outrage? Where are the vigils? Why isn't the media flooded with their stories? Why are we still being told to keep ourselves safe rather than holding men accountable for their violence? We are here today to say enough. We're here to say that this is not normal. It is not normal to fear for your life from your partner, someone who's supposed to love and protect you. It's not normal to feel unsafe in your own home. A place where you should feel the most secure, the most at peace. It's not normal for women to have to plan escape routes, to rehearse safety strategies just to survive another day in what should be their sanctuary. It's not normal that we continue to victim blame and slut shame instead of holding men to account. It's not normal that when we read about these violent crimes in the media, that the perpetrators are remembered as good blokes or a sweet family man. Why do we have to wait for a tragedy to shift the conversation, only for it to fade from the headlines too quickly? None of this is normal. This is not the way things should be. This is not the world we should be accepting. Yet we are asked to accept it. We are asked to live in this fear, to carry the weight of this violence every day and to stay silent about it. But no more. We've seen the power of movements like Me Too, where survivors found their voices and stood together to say, this happened to me. Now we need a new movement, one that names this violence for what it is, not normal. Start using the hashtag not normal. It's about refusing to accept this as just the way things are. It's about pushing back against a society that's become complacent with women suffering. Together, we're here to declare that male violence is not normal, and we won't continue to normalize it. I want you to think about how much more readily our society accepts violence than it does human sexuality. Look at how we classify media. Even G-rated content can include mild violence and still be considered appropriate for children. Yet anything that shows the human body or sexuality, one of the most natural and human experiences, it's instantly labeled as adult only, too explicit to be seen. Why is violence normalized while our humanity is suppressed? Violence is not normal. Male violence against women is not normal. We will not and we do not accept it. We refuse to be silenced. We will demand change and we will fight for a world where women are safe, no matter where they are, no matter who they are. When I first found sex work, it felt like reclaiming my life. After years of being controlled and manipulated by men who saw me as theirs to use, stepping into sex work gave me a sense of agency I'd never known. It taught me to understand boundaries, consent, and the power of saying no, things that growing up with violence had stolen from me. Sex work forced me to get clear about what I would and would not put up with. It gave me the tools to navigate power dynamics and to recognize manipulation from a mile away. I learned how to assert myself, how to demand respect, and how to know my own worth. And while the world likes to paint us as victims or broken women, the reality is that I have felt safer and more respected as a sex worker than I ever did in my personal life before. Being a sex worker didn't make me a victim. It made me a survivor. It gave me the strength to stand up and say, I deserve better than this. And it gave me a community of powerful, resilient people who have my back when the world turns its back on us. I do want to acknowledge that privilege plays a part in this. I've had access to brothels and worker spaces where information is shared with the main purpose of keeping each other safe. The stigma that surrounds the sex industry keeps...
If you can go from being a Zionist to a Palestine supporter, then you can go from being someone that doesn't speak up to someone that does speak up. It doesn't take a lot. You can do it. Woo! I'm gonna yell, okay? No more victim blaming women. We will say her name.
No more victim blaming women. We will say her name. No more victim blaming women. We will say her name. We will say her name. Women. We will say her name. No more victim blaming women. We will say her name. No more victim blaming women. We will say her name.
Thank you. Albanese, shame on you!
Albanese, shame on you! Albanese, shame on you! Albanese, shame on you! Albanese, shame on you!
What do we want? Safety for women! When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Safety for women!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Safety for women!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Safety for women!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want? want you to get up, take a quick stretch. We're on the home stretch now anyway. Come on, get up, quick stretch. Hydrate, whatever you need to do. We've got one more amazing speaker to go. Delivering advocate for human rights with an emphasis on Indigenous rights. Currently serving at the University of Sydney, Elena relentlessly champions First Nations people to dismantle systems of injustice. She believes in the profound collective responsibility to reclaim the lost essence of our humanity. Elena is on a life mission to restore the hearts and souls of the silenced, fighting not just for justice, but for the very heart of humanity itself. We are as lonely as we've ever been, and we are as connected as we've ever been. We need people in the community that rally people together, that bring people together, because we're all suffering the same issue. We all feel voiceless in this current society. We all feel invisible in this society. Elena is a very, very formidable force, and I can't wait for you to hear her speak. Thank you so much.
Everybody, thank you all for being here, for taking your time and efforts and energy. Come a little closer, don't be shy, don't be scared. I won't fight. I'd like to also acknowledge the land in which we meet here today and gather, the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. And I pay my respects to the elders past, present and future emerging. And I extend that respect to all and any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander person here today. I also like to acknowledge that this land has never been ceded, always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I'd like us to
Try it for as long as you can, and then when it runs out.
We're here with the light force. May the force be with us. I'd like us to take a moment, a minute of silence. We've come here with, it's out. We've come here, I'm going to do my best. Speak into it. We've come here with heavy hearts and unbreakable spirits here today. And we stand for the women whose voices were silenced, whose stories were distorted, and whose lives were cut short by violence. Violence that often goes, too often, unnoticed, ignored, or worse, justified. But today, we say no more. I'd like us to take a moment to feel country beneath our feet. As we stand here and ground, we may be feeling unsettled, emotional, rifled, unrattled, heavy. So we just take a moment to ground this energy in the ground beneath your feet. Feeling this beautiful spirit of the tree that we stand here today of. We feel the air, we feel the breeze. We just take a moment to ground this energy because today has been heavy. Every heart and every soul here has been moved and touched by a truth that exists within us all. Let's take a moment. I invite you all to breathe deeply. Breathwork instructor, I need to say that. So just breathe with me. Breathe deep from your bellies. Feel the ground beneath you. And just take a moment to pause. Feel country. Feel the spirit of these 117 plus women who have lost their lives. Surround us today as we're all surrounding each other. Unbroken spirits here to drive this force of unification, of justice and of healing of all women. Today we say no more. She matters. She matters until the world can no longer turn a blind eye. She matters because her story matters. Because their lives had meaning.
Jackie.
And to all the women who came before, every woman that you see here today, to make their truth known, their dignity restored, and their deaths not be forgotten. For too long, we have lived in a world that makes excuses for abuse, that shifts blame onto victims instead of holding perpetrators accountable. For too long, we have been conditioned to think that domestic violence is somewhere out there, something that happens to someone else. But we know better than that. We know better than that. We know that violence can happen, as we've seen today, in any home. As Eva mentioned earlier, there is no discrimination. To any woman, any mother, any daughter, any sister, any friend, and we know it is not their fault. We are here today because we refuse to accept a world that allows a woman to live in fear, to be victimized and then blamed for their suffering. We are here because we are done. We are done standing on the sidelines. We are here because we know that silence is complicity and we will not be complicit. Today we say enough. 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 We say that every woman deserves to live freely without fear of any violence, any judgment, without the fear of being blamed for the violence done to her. Today we will stand up, speak out, and do whatever it takes to create the world where no woman is left behind in the shadows, when no woman's story is twisted, where no woman's death is ignored. This is a call to action from us, from each and every one of you, from country, from the land in which we gather upon today. Every person who hears these words and the words uttered today at this rally, who sees these faces, who is moved by this cause, you have the power to make a difference, each and every single one of you today. Check in on the women in your life, your friends, your mothers, your grandmothers, your sisters, your co-workers even. Ask them how they're doing, how they are really doing. Sometimes it's a simple act of showing that you care and you can save a life. Don't wait for the tragedy to strike. Speak up when you see something wrong. Don't look the other way. We have to become the voices for those who cannot speak for themselves. And this is a fight I fight every day at the University of Sydney. Every single day. Raise awareness, share the stories that matter, demand accountability, and advocate for the changes that are long overdue in our systems. It is on us to change the narrative. It truly is. And to ensure that no woman ever feels alone, unheard, or dismissed ever again. We cannot afford to lose one more woman. We cannot afford to let another name be swallowed up by the darkness. We cannot afford to wait any longer. The time to act is
Now!
every single one of us here have a role to play. You are a part of this movement. You've chosen to be here today, so thank you so very much. You're part of this change, this age of Aquarius, this innovation stage of humanity where we are uplifting and rising, bringing down systems of colonization, of injustice, leading these movements. You are born here within this era to make this change. I truly believe this. have a heart and you have the strength to make this world a place where no woman is forgotten, no woman is left behind, and no woman is made to feel that she doesn't matter. I'm loving the signs.
Where's the wombat one?
Where's the wombat one? Give a shout out to the wombat sign. Let today be the spark that ignites the fire of change. Let today be the day that we promise ourselves and the women that we love that we will never stop fighting. We will fight for a world where women live free. Free from fear, free from violence. We will fight for a world where her name is said out loud. Her life is honored, and her spirit is never lost. She matters, they all matter. She matters with love. She matters with pride. She matters with conviction. She matters until the world changes. Thank you. I'm doing my best to activate it. I'd also like to share, I'm based in Wollongong, Darawal country. I recently found a domestic violence and trauma abuse charity that creates bags for women, escape bags. It's called Esca Bags, that I'd like to highlight and raise here today, that I hope to be a volunteer of and create these bags for the women that are there. Her name is Stacey Jane. She's the founder of this organization. She left her perpetrator on a protection visa from the UK back in 2019, fleeing to Australia to survive. She created this charity with nothing, started from nothing. It all takes the groundwork and the roots up to ignite change, and she did this herself on a visa alone in this country with no one. If you are a domestic violence victim or a trauma abuse victim, please, she makes escape bags, get in touch with Stacey. I'm sure she will help. These bags contain products and items if you are a flea or escaping a domestic violence or trauma abuse situation. So I'd just like to raise this charity here today and bring awareness to Esca Bags. Thank you so much to the team. Thank you all for being here today. I know how riveting and how moving and emotional and rifling this situation is. These faces, these women, their hearts, their spirits, unbroken, still here with us today. Thank you all so much.
The shirts that we're wearing, the shirt as well. These are Sherelle Moody Femicide Watch, the Red Heart campaign. I'm sure you've heard of it. Sherelle is the #1 voice in the femicide space in the country. And every dollar that you spend on these shirts goes towards the fact that we can actually acknowledge and find out the names and the faces of these women. So without Sherelle, none of this would be possible. So please do make sure that you follow her on Instagram. She reports on femicide every second, every day. It's a grueling task. No one else would do it but her. She's phenomenal. So thank you, Sherelle. They're running rallies all around the country right now. So really just sit in the energy of what Elena's just said, because you're amongst thousands of women nationwide who are doing exactly what you're doing right now. Bendigo, Newcastle, Naarm, Wooroloo, Alice Springs, all the others, Adelaide. So many rallies going on to raise awareness, completely volunteer run. Thank you for being here. Let's have the aftercare section behind this tree. Let's gather. For anyone who needs to cuddle, chat, add me on Instagram, vent online to me, whatever you need to do, bitch about Abby Chatfield, whatever you need to do. Yes. Well, didn't you get that? That's what I was saying before about Oh, sorry. I got that from her, by the way. Yeah, let's gather. Let's breathe. We have a few water bottles, not many because we didn't get donations. We have candy. We have hugs. We have hearts. We have souls. Let's all get amongst it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much.